So cells are not always dividing. And so when they're not dividing, it goes through special steps and stages. And so we need to look at what the whole life cycle or stages of a cell is. And so that's called the cell cycle. Cell division is just one of the stages that a cell goes through. And again, prokaryote cell cycle is more simple than eukaryotes. So in the prokaryote cell cycle, it's simple. The cell grows and elongates. The DNA will replicate, and then the cell divides. It's very basic, it's very simple. But when we look at the eukaryote cell cycle, it's much more complex. And there are two main stages. And so if you look at this outer ring, you'll see we have a dark green stage, and we call that stage interphase. And then you'll notice on the outside, then we have this mitotic phase, which is mitosis. And so then, if you look at the inner circle, it will show you how each of these two stages are broken down. So interphase is broken down into the first gap phase, then synthesis, and then lastly, the second gap phase. Then your mitosis phase is broken down into prophase, P for prophase, M for metaphase, A for anaphase, T for telophase, and C for cytokinesis. And so we're going to take a little bit bigger look here at interphase. So interphase is actually the longest phase of the cell cycle, and we can see that because it takes up the majority of the whole circle. So interphase takes up most of the cell's life. So the first gap is called G1 or growth phase 1, and this is when the cell grows rapidly and it carries out basic cell functions. This is where we make proteins and we copy some organelles. Cells usually spend most of this time most of its life during this first gap phase. In the synthesis or S phase is where the cell copies its DNA. And then lastly, we have the growth phase 2 or second gap. And this is the last minute preparation for division, cell division. Again, we're making some more proteins, and then you're finishing copying all of the organelles. Once all of that is complete, then we go into the mitotic phase. And this is when the cell divides, starting with the nucleus, the DNA replicating, and it goes through prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and then it ends with cytokinesis, and the cell divides into two.